At the heart of this agreement is our common commitment to a better future for all of our people. And Peter and I are at one in our determination to defend core public services, to continue to attract foreign direct investment, support Indigenous businesses, and to provide more and better jobs, particularly for our young people. This agreement signals our resolve to engender the sea change which our community is demanding. A new beginning for politics, an opportunity to move forward with a real sense of hope and purpose. We have achieved this against a backdrop of enormous challenges. As a society emerging from conflict, there are many difficult and enduring issues which face our society. We are also confronted by a Tory government that is determined to impose cuts on our public services and on those in need and our working families. The cuts to our welfare budgets, tax credits and our block grant are wrong and unfair. We are determined to do all in our power to oppose this austerity and protect our people and our public services. In this negotiation, we have secured more than £500 million of additional funding for the Executive, plus flexibilities that can be invested in growth and public services. We have agreed a package of £585 million to support the most vulnerable in our society and low-income working families. This money will provide crucial support to people on welfare and thousands of families targeted by Tory cuts to tax credits, cuts which came after the Stormont Agreement and effectively undermined the protections in that agreement. The Tories will continue to pursue their agenda of cuts. However, we will continue to do all that we can to support those in need. The legacy of the past remains a huge gap in this work. Victims of the conflict rightfully expected that they would have full disclosure promised in the Stormont Agreement, but the British government have blocked this. So the onus remains on the British government to live up to their responsibilities to victims in this regard. Enormous progress was made between the DUP and Sinn Féin, and indeed with others, in bringing the situation in regard to how we deal with the past to the level that we did, in terms of agreeing, for example, the structures and the mechanisms that are required to provide a menu of options for those who suffered as a result of the conflict. But I have to say, during the course of the negotiation, it was made abundantly clear by many victims groups that Sinn Féin engaged with that they would prefer no legislation than bad legislation. So what we have now done is committed ourselves to recognising that more work needs to be done. We've just come from a meeting of all the parties and the two governments, and the two governments have committed themselves to continue to explore how the difficulties around that one very sensitive issue can be resolved. Can it be resolved? That remains to be seen. It is, as Peter has said, a very, very difficult issue, but I take great satisfaction from the fact that during the course of the negotiation and the different meetings that took place, particularly the bilaterals between Sinn Féin and the DUP, that enormous progress was made, but we still have a bit to go. This negotiation also addressed the issue of armed groups and criminality, and there can be no place whatsoever for armed groups in our society. There can be no hiding place for criminality. That is why I have been at the forefront of challenging these people over the course of many years. That is why the agreement includes additional resources for policing and mechanisms to challenge armed gangs and criminality. While work remains to be done on legacy, this agreement represents progress across a range of issues, some of which threaten the very existence of these institutions. This agreement represents an opportunity for a new start, an opportunity which we must all grasp. our political institutions are the best way to ensure we can protect our people from the worst excesses of Tory austerity. It is the best way of delivering for our people, protecting public services, supporting the most vulnerable, and creating economic growth, jobs and opportunities. It is the best way forward. It is the only way forward. It is the course to which I and Peter are firmly committed. As in all negotiations, the outcome of those negotiations are a real test of leadership. And in the course of this negotiation, there have been 7 interested parties: the Irish government and the British government, and the 5 main parties in the Assembly. I've been involved in many negotiations over the course of the last 20 years. And anybody that goes into a negotiation thinking that they will achieve everything that they're looking for is foolhardy. That's not the way of the world. It is a very difficult thing to craft an agreement between 7 interested parties. So this is a time for leadership. It's a time for standing up. It's a real test for other participants to these talks. We have pledged ourselves today to stand together. I will stand with the Democratic Unionist Party in the office of First and Deputy First Minister to deliver for all of our people out there who are fed up to the back teeth of division, of squabbling, and looking at politicians who, in spite of the great achievements that they've made in terms of unemployment levels going down, attracting foreign direct investment, delivering first-class public services, are overshadowed by much of the negativity that we've seen in the course of the last 2 or 3 years. This is an opportunity to end that negativity. This is an opportunity for a new beginning. It is an opportunity for a fresh start, and it's one that every politician worth his or her salt must grasp with both hands.